Since we are only days away from finally seeing the biggest fight of this arc, I've got the perfect warm-up fight for you. Ricardo, the current champion in Ippo's division, versus Wally, the Wild Island boy. Many weird things happened in this fight. So weird that some of them don't even look like boxing anymore. And we finally see a darker side to Ricardo's usually gentleman behavior. Let's dive into the action. And it gets weird right away. Wally disappears from sight. He's nowhere to be found. Ricardo says, "I've lost him." What do you mean you've lost him? Is he supposed to fight the ref now? The ref thinks maybe I can beat Ricardo. Let me think for a second, bro. And suddenly something appears out of nowhere. What's this? It's Wally. And he's punching over the referee's shoulder like a lunatic. Ricardo isn't even flinching because he actually knows how much a centimeter is. Wally immediately retreats and runs a circle around the ref like a Looney Tunes character. Ricardo has a typical solid but still open guard so he can actually see what's happening in front of him. It's like a picture frame that gives him full view of the action. And because his hands are almost as wide as his shoulders, he has plenty of range for motion. But Wally doesn't care one bit. He just puts his hands behind his back. This shocks the whole gang and also the arena. Look at this, bro. He's the first challenger to be so calm in front of Ricardo. It literally looks like a taunt. Ricardo isn't falling for it though. He stays firm and collected. And then Wally zigzags as he dives in. Ricardo observes him with sharp eyes. Even his mustache looks sharper here. It cut my finger as I was editing the video. Wally goes right, then left, and suddenly he separates his arms behind his back. Ricardo immediately sees it. That's his signal to react. Wally swings all the way from his ass and throws an overhand right. Will it land? No, it was a feint. Ricardo sees this as well. Wally pulls out his other arm from behind and throws an uppercut instead. Look at how sharp the uppercut is. This will surely land. No, he's switching his path once again and goes up top instead. But Ricardo's right hand is already moving to block the uppercuts. Will this one land? No! He manages to guard in time, but it causes a juicy bang. Then Wally straight up runs away as if he's trying to catch the bus. Even Ricardo is impressed by how fast he got away. As Ricardo's glove is steaming, Wally says, "You reacted so fast, I thought I had you, man." Volk mentions that Wally throws punches only he would be capable of because his joints are so flexible. He's basically a rubber man. And suddenly he comes to a stop and jumps backwards. As he flies past Ricardo, he gets his arm ready like a sword. This looks like the flicker jab. He throws a whole barrage of flickers as he flies past Ricardo. This is a whole drive-by, bro. And now he flies into the ropes to get some snappy momentum. This is not boxing anymore. This is Indonesian pro wrestling. He uses the force of the ropes to catapult himself into another direction like the Dragon Balls after granting a wish. And again, he disappears behind the ref. This turns into a whole hide-and-seek session, but he appears again. This causes Ricardo to get his guard up, because Wally quickly flies past him again while throwing another hailstorm at him. He's not just punching from the hip, it's literally his whole body flinging into Ricardo. That's why it has enough force to snap his arms up in the air. Before the second round starts, we see a quick word from their coaches. Wally's coach says, "Stay safe," as if he's going to school. Ricardo's coach says, "As always, no change in plans." Ricardo says, "As always? To be honest, I'm having trouble." He says Wally's selfishness is too different for him. He's never seen a style like this even in a career as long as his own. This is an unknown. Imagine how animalistic and wild you have to be for Ricardo to say such a thing. And by the way, do you see Wally's damn boxing trunks? He has a whole monkey tail attached to it. What is this fight, bro? Again, Wally comes in with a crazy overhand right, but he swings his arm so hard that it literally bends backwards like a rope. Does this dude have no bones? It slams down on Ricardo's guard and causes an explosion. But he's still calm and collected. Suddenly, Wally slices into Ricardo's lower body with a sharp body shot. It looks like he cut him with a knife. And then he dances around the ring like a professional ballerina as he absolutely dissects Ricardo's guard like Sukuna. Just think for a second about how good Ricardo is that I'm praising Wally for hitting his guard. Suddenly, he stops in front of Ricardo and holds his arm up. Then Ricardo clenches his fist, getting ready to throw his first punch. Just then, Wally throws a bitch slap which causes Ricardo to stop his right hand and guard instead. Ippo says Ricardo was about to punch but then didn't. He still hasn't figured out Wally yet. This means that Ricardo has to understand you fully before making any moves. In between rounds, Bill asks Ricardo, "So this fighter you've ordered for yourself, how is he?" Ricardo says he's exactly what I ordered. They're talking about Wally like he's a Big Mac combo or something. As of right now, he's too much for me. And then he says his natural talent is the best I've ever seen. Mind you, Ricardo hasn't thrown a punch for 2 rounds now, but there's a reason. Volk and Sando talk about Ricardo's strategy. Listen closely, this is very important. Sando complains that Ricardo hasn't thrown a single punch and that he should go out there and fight like a man. Volk says that Ricardo doesn't dislike trading punches, but he dislikes being beaten one-sidedly. Sando says he's curling up and eating it like that. Volk corrects him and says, Ricardo predicts that if he throws a punch, it will turn back on him. He has abandoned protecting his body and he raised his guard to protect his head entirely. He must have a reason for that. This is why Volk is the world champion and Sando isn't. Sando has zero feeling for fine strategies and just dives in head first like an idiot. It's cool to watch, but it's an outdated style that will cost him his body and his career. It's also a warning sign for Ippo how not to box. Let's continue. Ricardo and Volk share the championship logical thinking. Because as Ricardo analyzes Wally's movements, he realizes that Wally's punches are piercing his guard like the tip of a blade. And that tip is aimed right at my eyes. He is trying to blind me. But Ricardo says he can't just accept standing there and do nothing. Right now there's only one time where he can hit him. When he comes in from below to hit his body, he'll catch him with the left. And like lightning, Ricardo's left is right in front of Wally's face as he's coming up. And does it land? No. Wally slips the punch by mere inches and seems to float in the air. A beautiful overhand left counter hits Ricardo up top. I've never seen him like this before. Although he managed to minimize the damage so it wasn't the full-on counter. But this isn't everything because Wally goes absolutely insane. He jumps into the ropes and Ricardo decides to catch him the moment he bounces off. But Wally just throws an uppercut from that position. But he's overextended now. Perfect timing for Ricardo. He goes in for the counter. But wait, he jumps along the ropes like a monkey. Ricardo says understanding him in 9 minutes is impossible. I love how he isn't even complaining to the ref about his ridiculous tactics. He is just accepting it and trying to understand his rhythm. Suddenly we get a jungle metaphor. This is Wally's domain expansion, Banana in the Jungle. His boxing style is so f***ed up that Ricardo sees him as a shadow hiding behind coconut trees. He has enough. He says he has no choice but to go forward into his territory. Wally provokes him even more and says, "Come on, champion." He's literally emoting on him. And then we see a big step. So let's go to the heart of the jungle. Ricardo has enough of these island shenanigans. Time to punish this little circus boy. And they go for a duel exchange. Wally throws an overhand right and Ricardo a jab. But somehow Wally lands first. Ricardo says he should have landed first because his punch came in a straight line. But Wally's hands are just terrifyingly fast. Ricardo goes in again with perfect boxing basics. He throws a sharp jab and then goes for the body. It's flawless. But the basics somehow don't apply to Wally because he just slaps Ricardo's glove away like it's a pop-up ad. And then he punishes him with the juicy left hook which causes explosive waves across the entirety of Mexico. Ricardo says theory doesn't work on Wally. That's an issue. But he can't think of any other way to approach this. All he can think of is applying theories regardless of how many times he nullifies them. Ricardo is a mathematician, bro. Then he says in the face of such genius, any theory is worth nothing. But I still choose the basic, the normal, the ordinary. Because if you know the basics, you know it all. And Ricardo knows nothing besides that. He says this as he throws the most important and most basic punch in boxing. The jab. And it lands clean and catches Wally during all of his shenanigans. The jab hits him flush. He looks like he just went down 15 IQ points. And another one on the nose. Another one. Wally tries to pressure Ricardo but it doesn't work. Ricardo feints the right which causes a reaction from Wally. But the left comes instead and it hits Wally's brain so hard that he looks like he's forgetting his last name. Then Ricardo starts absolutely spitting some cold shit like always. I have no special abilities, nor do I believe in the magical or superhuman. I can only move like a normal man and thus my only choice is the fundamentals. All I can do is elevate the fundamentals. Shave off all the fats, wring out any excess and elevate. Wally looks absolutely shook after Ricardo gave us this disgustingly badass Genghis Khan monologue, and he stands before him like a stoic statue. The genius, the mathematician, the logical thinker, Ricardo Octacore Martinez. He's the ultra-modern weapon Omega. Bro sounds like a giant mecha robot with the strongest laser in the world. And he has pushed Wally to the edge of the cliff with pure fundamentals. He is trapped in the corner and has nowhere to run. A sharp left hand. It leaves him stunned like a drunk homeless guy in Los Angeles. And another right hand against the corner that drills into his brain like a sledgehammer. The damage is too much. Wally goes to the ground. But he gets back up and they enter a sharp exchange. Neither of them is giving an inch. It's so close that any punch could get through and be the last. And suddenly a dual exchange. Ricardo's jab jolts Wally's head like an electric spear and Wally's cross lands flush on Ricardo's cheek, which makes half his mustache disappear. Ricardo's coach Bill even says he can't remember ever seeing Ricardo like this. Bill says that the close range is too dangerous. Just take your distance. But Ricardo suddenly stomps his foot on the ring canvas. He is standing square in front of Wally. What is this? It's an invitation. Come at me, bro. Let's punch it out in the center of the ring. Just then, Bill remembers the essence of Ricardo and why he started boxing. How does it feel to be strong? As a young boy, he asked Bill this question. The same question Ippo asked Sakamura. Bill says you haven't changed one bit. Ricardo likes the basics, but he's a man as much as he's a boxer. He wants all the smoke and test himself against a strong challenger from a beautiful island in Southeast Asia. And speaking of which, Wally throws a rather familiar punch. It's the smash! Sando smash. But Ricardo slips away just in time. And another one is on the way. If this lands, it'll take his head off clean. And it lands! It slices Ricardo's face in half. No, wait. What's this? His eye? What the hell is this smile? Ricardo suddenly looks like a demon king waiting for his blood smoothie. As he grins like a sadistic emperor, he gets his right ready. And he throws it with full force. A perfect cross counter. We see a smile one last time and... the counter lands with terrifying force on Wally's head like a falling coconut. He wobbles and tries to gather himself. Yet another smash by Wally. He won't give up. Sando and Ippo are anxious beyond belief. This is all or nothing. But Ricardo is faster. Yet another right counter drills itself into the depths of Wally's brain. This time his knees buckle and he hits the canvas. As he falls to the ground, Ricardo looks down on him and his hopes of being tested. The ref steps between them as if Ricardo doesn't know that Wally is already done. He has known it since round 4. But what he doesn't know is, what does it mean to be strong?